What makes hot dogs more American for the 4th of July? Jalapeno popper hot dogs that pop with your fireworks. First thing we are going to do is we're going to start making our jalapeno popper spread that will go straight onto the hot dog. And we're going to start with 2 blocks of 8 ounces of just regular cream cheese. Now that we have the blocks down, we're just going to take a knife and lightly score the top of each of the blocks. One thing to note when you're doing this is they do not have to be cut very deep. You just need a light score. When I do this, I like to make a crosshatch pattern because I think it just looks better and is more fun to see when you pull them off the smoker. And it's just a little bit easier to see when they're done. Here's the final crosshatch pattern. And now that we have the blocks scored, the only thing left to do now is to season them. We're using Bartlow's Barbecue Sweet Red Dirt today. And we're just going to take that and generously apply it over the top of each of the blocks. And then we're going to take the edge of the pan, lift it up, let gravity help that fall straight down to the edges on the sides of the blocks. And we're going to do that for all sides. So every exposed surface of the cream cheese block is going to be covered with the seasoning. And as you can see here, it does not take a lot of seasoning. It goes a long ways. And there's some seasoning on the bottom of the pan that'll go in the smoker and capture some smoke flavor as well. We're going to take it straight on that parchment on that pan, put it on the smoker, and let it start cooking for about an hour. And we're going to take our knife and we're also going to score the hot dogs themselves. Scoring the hot dogs before they go on the smoker is really good because it opens up the casing and allows them to absorb more of that smoke flavor while they're cooking. Here you can see the good crosshatch pattern we've got. Again, not deep cuts, just enough to open up that casing. Then we are going to continue scoring all of them so they are going to match and have the same pattern on them. Once they're all scored on one side, you're going to flip them over and score the other side. You can see I've started cutting 4 at a time here just to save some time and save some cuts. As long as you can keep them from rolling, you can cut more at a time. When you flip them over, you want to make sure you flip them a full flip, not a half flip. That way these scores on both sides are on opposite sides of the hot dog. And when we put them on the smoker, that'll be the top and the bottom of the dog. Today I'm doing 2 different flavors of dogs. I've got regular and cheese infused. The first ones we did were regular, and then these cheese infused, I'm not going to do a crosshatch. I'm just going to do a single directional cut on them like this. The reason I'm cutting them different is for 2 reasons. One is some cheese infused sausages can melt the cheese out easier if you have too many cuts on them. And then the other reason is when they're done, I'll be able to easily tell the flavor based on the pattern. The dogs are ready to go on, so we're just going to move the cream cheese out of the way. And we're going to then put the dogs straight onto the smoker on the grates. And you want just enough space in between each of them to allow good airflow and smoke around each individual dog. And I wanted the cheese back in the front because it's going to be what comes off first. While that's on the smoker, we're going to make the rest of our popper dip. And it wouldn't be jalapeno poppers without jalapenos. To do that, we're going to take off the ends of each, slice them in half, clean out the insides, and then we'll end up dicing them all. Now, when it comes to cleaning the inside of your jalapeno, the best way I have found to do it personally is take a spoon and you can slide it right along the inside and it just pulls out all of those innards, the seeds, the ribbing. And as you can see right here, little ribbing is easy just to take off with an extra scrape, and you've got a really nice cleaned out jalapeno. Taking out the seeds and the ribs will really make sure that they're not spicy like they could be if you left them in. Once they're all clean, we're going to take them. I like pressing them down to kind of allow them to lay a little flatter, so when we slice them into thin strips like this, it's just easier to slice. And we're going to take each of them, slice them long ways like this, then we'll turn them sideways and we'll end up dicing them piece by piece. As you can see, we've got a nice fine dicing with even sizes, which is exactly what we want. When I pull them off the cutting board, I'm adding them straight into the bowl. We will end up making the spread in. And here is 5 diced jalapenos. That's about 1 for roughly every 3 ounces of cream cheese. I take 1 more jalapeno and we're going to follow the exact same steps and process, but we're going to cut it into bigger pieces. And this is going to be something that we can use as a final topper, both for decoration and garnish, but also to give it more of a crunch when you bite into it. So we're going to cut these about twice as big on each side. Here's a quick size comparison of the 2 different dices. The right will be in the dip and the left will be the garnish. For the dip, we need the juice of 1 lime. What we're going to do is we're just going to cut it in half and then we'll squeeze it straight into the bowl on top of the diced jalapenos. I like to make sure that the juice gets onto the jalapenos as quick as I can when I'm done cutting them, just to make sure that it helps them stay bright and fresh while they sit and wait on the rest. Next, we're going to do 1 more garnish, which is just green onions. We're going to chop them into ringlets. Now that our garnishes are ready and it's about time to pull the cream cheese off the smoker, we're going to take a full 8-ounce bag of shredded sharp cheddar cheese and mix that in with our jalapenos and our lime juice. It's been 1 hour since our cream cheese was put on, and we're going to take a look at it, and you can see how it's starting to separate along each of those scores, which is exactly what we want to see to know that it's done. We're going to take a peek at the hot dogs, and we can see that they're starting to darken and redden in color, which means they're cooking. There's a little bit of separation at the point of each score. And we specifically want to look at the score when we look at the cream cheese, and as you can see here, it is starting to separate and fall apart, which is a really good indicator that it is soft all the way through. We're going to put that straight into the bowl, and then we're going to mix it in. This is our final ingredient to our popper spread, so we do want to make sure it is mixed in thoroughly, but we also want to make sure that we don't overmix it to break down any of the textures. Smoked cream cheese, seasoning, jalapenos, shredded cheese, and lime juice, and it is looking good. We're using brioche buns, and as you can see, they are split on the top, which makes assembling something like this just easier than the typical side split. So we're going to start with a small slather across the very bottom, which will act as a bed for the dog to rest on and will help hold it in place. And we're going to do that for 2 of them because I'm going to eat 1 of each of the flavors of the hot dogs today. Now, after 1 hour of the hot dogs being on as well, we're going to give them a final look. And you can see we've got a little bit more separation on each of those score marks. The edges of some of those score marks are looking crispy, and these are exactly what we're looking for. So they're going to get pulled off. There's something about the red smokiness of a hot dog that just looks really neat, and as you can see, they're separated by flavor based on the score marks. Now to assemble them, we're going to just take them, put them right on the bed, and then we're going to slather a very healthy portion right on the top. And this is something you really can't put too much on. You just want to make sure that you have enough on there. So we're going to go back, get some more, and then we've got a jalapeno popper hot dog that is ready to eat. It was delicious. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, and keep the porch light on, and we'll see you next time.